I'm your host, Most Welcome 23. You're joining me for Courtesan of Rome, Chapter 14. This chapter contains situations involving threatening sexual violence, which may be upsetting to some players. Discretion is advised. 8 years ago in Gaul. I always include the disclaimer, just in case. You and your family are held at the spear point of the Roman legionnaires. Flood your campsite. Let me go. The two of them drag your disarmed father before Legate Aquila, who has been tracking your family since the destruction of your village. This is the first time you're seeing him face to face. You've been a thorn in my side for years, but as always, Rome has won out. The god speaks in haughtily Latin that you can barely understand. Your father spits back at him in Gallic. I will not hurt my family. Your father lunges at Aquila, but the legionnaires restrain him before he can lay his hands on the legate. Aquila knees him in the gut. Kneel, cur! Legionnaires force your father to his knees. Aquila stands over him, hand on his hilt of his gladius. You leap to your feet, trying to get between your father and Aquila. Father! Well, clearly we didn't die, but against an oppressive force, I would rather die free and proud. Stand at your father's side, tall and defiant. The legate walks towards you. Leave my daughter alone. Aquila ignores him as the legionnaires struggle to hold your father down. This one should bring a far good prize. The lad turns to his men, speaking Latin too rapid for you to follow. Oh, men, the chief of the Catanui, and what's left of his tribe, will take them to Rome for my triumphant search for the camp for any treasures. Second thought, it looks like there's treasures for taking right here. Aquila rips off the golden torque that marks your father's chieftainship. You won't be needing this anymore, you disgusting savage. Your father lunges for the torque, cursing the legate in your own language. Roman bastard, give that back! Father, you'll always be chief of the Catanui. Yes, we are Catanui. We are warriors. Legionnaires hold your father still as Aquila kicks him fiercely in the chest. Victus, no! Aquila snaps an order in Latin. In! Take them back to the camp. We return to Rome in the morning. All those who are tired of Aquila, raise your hand. A twist of fate. Volcanalia is over. Aquila is leading you back to his home, still unaware of your true identity or your intent. Since I saw you in my house, I knew we would end up back there. You did? Of course. I would never let a beauty like you slip out of my grasp. You shudder involuntarily, but give Aquila a small, practiced smile. You're too kind, Domini. Spot an alley, one devoid of the usual staggering drunks or sleeping festival goers. You move towards the alley, your hand itching to draw the dagger on your thigh. Where are you going? I have a secret to show you. Ah, Wiles. Love to see your secrets. I'm sure you would. You lead Aquila into the alley. We just make sure that we're truly alone. He turns to scan the streets and exposes his back to you. Your heart races as you feel your knife burning against your leg, begging to be used. Wait for a better opportunity. The knife stays sheathed as you hear the sounds of sandaled footsteps fast approaching. Curse my luck! Aquila backs up closer to you as Mark Anthony rounds the corner. Anthony's body is relaxed in a smile disarming, but his eyes are focused and angry. I've been looking for you, Aaron. I'm afraid she's on my coin at the moment, Legate. Anthony, I was only escorting the girl home and nothing. You're welcome to hire her yourself some other time, but be wary. She's a wild one. Wild one. Paula trails off, his eyes widening as he looks at you. I do know you.
You're that girl from the Katanui tribe.
That's right. You were lusting after a savage. Think a great conqueror like you couldn't keep his hands off a disgusting savage like me.
Aquala flushes with anger and embarrassment. You dare you!
I wonder what people will think. A man of your stature trying to steal my courtesan? Gall, no less.
Aquala bows to Anthony, his fist clenched tight as he rights himself. Forgive me, Domini. My baser instincts took hold of me. Should have pulled the goddamn knife.
Save the apology, Aquala. We both know you only care because you were caught. Leave now. Go do your job instead of dragging women into alleys.
Aquala's fist trembles as he approaches Anthony. The two stare each other down.
Aquala slinks out of sight. Anthony approaches you as Aquala's footsteps fade into the distance. Should I ask how you ended up in an alley with Aquala? Aquala is my concern, not yours. I had hoped you'd let me help, but if you want to keep it to yourself, that's your choice. You know most people say thank you when they're saved from danger. And thank you. Was that so hard? Are you done gloating? Never. Consider me appeased for the time being. Come, I'll make sure you get home safely. You make your way back to the chalet under Anthony's guard, Aquala gone from your grasp. Yet again, it's interesting how he said he would help you. Several days later, you're in your room tuning your Cathara. Your knife is tucked in a drawer away from prying eyes. Abu scampers onto your shoulder and begins randomly twisting the tuning pegs on doing your work. Abu! Oh, I can never stay mad at that face. Abu nuzzles your hand and you scratch his chin. Suddenly you hear the sound of heavy footsteps and a crash outside your room, followed by yelling. What's happening?
Everyone outside!
What is the meaning of this? The chalet is in chaos. Dozens of guards fill the hallways, pulling courtesans from their rooms and dragging them off. Others tear apart their couches, furniture, searching for something. I don't care what your title is. This is unlawful.
What is unlawful is you failing to register these girls as prostitutes with the edil. Until you're able to pay the city the taxes you owe, these girls will be seeing their patrons in a prison cell.
I have run this chalet for more than 10 years. This is extortion. Silently, you turn back towards your room to retrieve your knife.
You aren't going anywhere.
Score's hand lands heavily on your shoulder. You should have kept it on your thigh. Don't touch me. Take your hands off of her. She lunges for him, but only to be wrenched up short by the crossed spears of two of his guardsmen.
Take this one away before she does something she regrets.
Behind Lena, Xanthi is shoved forward by the guard and stumbles, barely able to stop herself from tripping over her dress. Do you know who I am? I am the greatest... Let them go.
Ignore her. I said move.
You may escort me to the Capitoline, but you may not touch me. She stares daggers at Aquala as the guards lead her away. I have powerful friends. You will regret this. Lena turns her attention to Xanthi and the frightened courtesans. Don't resist. Keep yourself safe. I'll free you as soon as I can. Aquala, let them go. I'm the one you want.
Don't presume to know me. I'll arrest whom I please. I'll be taking you into custody personally.
Should have killed you when I had the chance. Even though I probably wouldn't have. Aquala grabs you by the arm and leads you outside, away from where Lena and the others are being driven. Where are you taking me?
Shut your mouth!
As you round a corner, Aquala's estate draws into sight with your father's knife and sheath lost to you at the chalet. Your legs feel bare and chill.
I'll repay you for making a fool of me. To my room now! You know where it is, priestess!
I'm not the one who made you a fool. The Koala wrenches your arm, shoving you inside. As you proceed down the hall, your eyes frantically dart into each open room as you pass, searching for anyone who might help.
Just you and me here. I wanted to make sure we weren't disturbed.
Your heart races harder, thumbing against your throat. You fear its loud pounding might betray you.
If I'd known in Gaul how well you'd clean up, I'd have kept you for myself.
I, none of your viewers, wonder what your wife will think of this. Wish you had, Dominic. What would your wife will think of this?
My wife's thoughts never concern me, nor do yours.
A sinister smile blooms on Aquala's cold face as he looks you over with lust in his eyes. Aquala thinks he has you alone and defenseless, but as a trained courtesan, you still have one weapon you can use against him, his own desire. He's blinded by his arrogance. If I play along, I can get the upper hand. Calling on your training, you turn gracefully to face him, allowing your hips to sway back and forth as eyes follow the movement. Your home is as impressive as you, Domini. You lower your gaze and flutter your lashes as you look through them.
Oh, that's why you were here with my wife, you whore.
That's tough. Envy her position. It could give him a sense of thinking that he's a man of many desires. Wonder how often you've pictured us together. Not gonna lie, most straight men do think that. And I was trying to get close to you. I feel like that's actually a bad choice. Let's go with number 3. I'm gonna play it at the weakness of every man. You lean forward slightly, letting the soft curves of your breast show through the neckline of your dress. Quella's throat bobs as he swallows hard. I saw you looking at me even then. Were you picturing us both naked, ready to serve you? Quella's breath quickens, and you know you've baited your hook well. Ever since the triumph, when I saw all the Rome cheering you, I knew there was no man as powerful. You peer up at him through your lashes, trying to find the right mix of submissive and sultry. Suddenly, Qualla rips his hands away from yours.
Don't try to play me.
From a sheath at his side, Qualla draws a gleaming knife. Fear grips your heart.
Inside, now!
You enter the room, searching it with your gaze. There's nothing of immediate use, only a chair, a bed, a washing basin atop a pedestal.
It is a long time for this.
I have to get his guard down again. Across the room, reaching for the washing basin.
What are you doing?
If I convince him to wash his hands, he'll have to put the knife away. I am at your mercy, Domini. Might as well. We both enjoy it. You trail your fingers through the water, then rise it up to your lips, letting a drop trickle down. But I miss the chalet's baths. There's no better place to entertain a patron. Perhaps I could help you wash. I bathed many of Rome's greatest men. Your hands of something more. You surely have much to clean away. Trying to get in the mind of a woman. I don't. It's complicated. And then also trying to get through the eyes of a woman to a man and then understand their thinking. And especially because he's a brute. Your hands are something more. You can't tell me you haven't thought of it. You, me, soaking in the chalet's pools together. Qualla's jaw drops at your proposition. Without thinking about it, Qualla sheathes his knife, and you quickly quash your surge of triumph, keeping your gaze meek as you take his hands and dip them into the bowl of water. Lena may have cleaned me up, but passion and bliss are inherently savage in nature, no?
Yes, indeed.
He surrenders his hands to you, letting your fingers work their way up his wrists.
It's incredible.
You move your fingers further up his arm, searching for another sheath. Anything you can take from him to even your odds. When suddenly your fingers stop on a golden torque wrapped loosely around Koala's bicep, peeking out from under his armor, dangling tassels. My father's torque.
You won't be needing this anymore, you disgusting savage. Roman bastard, give me that back.
Reclaim your father's torque, using nothing but your wits and wiles in this exclusive scene. I mean, as much as that would mean, no.
Now, what shall I do with you?
Koala's hands are still in yours. You have only seconds to decide what to do. You give him one last fleeting smile. You tell me, Dominie. Then as Koala steps closer, leering, you suddenly yank down hard on his hands, jerking him off balance. Ah! Grabbing the heaven basin, you hurl it at the back of his head and dash at the door. He stumbles in the basin, narrowly misses him. You struggle with the door latch as Koala recovers, his face red with fury. Should have pulled the dagger and stabbed him.
You're mine, barbarian.
Suddenly, the door to the bedroom slams open, and Sabina strides in, eyes filled with righteous fury. Sabina, thank God you're here. Sabina closes in on Koala. How dare you?
Sabina, what do you...
Sabina silences Koala with a hard slap across his face. You will never prey on her again.
You little...
Koala pulls back a fist, and you step in front of Sabina. And you will never hurt her again.
You think either of you can stop me?
Never underestimate women paired together, boy. Touch one of us again, and I'll tell Mark Anthony everything I know.
Ah, and what evidence do you have?
Sabina struggles to find an answer. Evidence doesn't matter once he's suspicious. He'll find what he needs. Unless you think yourself smarter than Anthony. Koala glowers as he mulls over your words, but his fists stay at his sides.
This isn't over.
Yes, it is. Koala pushes you both to the side and storms out of the room. Sabina watches him go, face suddenly breaking into a glowing smile. Did I just do that? Was that really me? Sabina, where did that fire in you come from? You look like an avenging goddess. You were amazing. It was like you were a different person. I was a different person. I don't know what came over me. I feel like I'm floating on a cloud. Like this is all a dream. I promise, it's real. You see that Sabina's hands have begun to shake, her expression trembling between euphoria and fear. And what is it you would have told Anthony? That Koala has been spying on Anthony for the Senate, still working against Anthony and Caesar. Then we are safe from him as long as we know? But what if Anthony doesn't believe me? What if Koala decides to kill me? To keep my silence? Sorry about that. Someone was revving their engine for the last 2 minutes in front of my house. Sabina's hands stop shaking as she meets your eyes. It was time. I won't be a Koala's plaything anymore, or any longer. I'm ready to be my own woman. Sabina, you're already your own woman. I want you to be with me. You're already your own woman. You have always been, no matter what others have tried to do to you. Then maybe I should just say that today was the first thing I ever did for myself. Earlier today, a koala caught me writing a poem. He had told me before that he had thought that Sophie's poetry was filth and forbade me to keep her works in the house when he saw me writing on my own. With a hand to her cheek, and you see a faint redness still visible there. He struck me. He had no right to do that. I know. I almost hit him back. I never had thought to do that before. I always just waited for it to end, but I didn't quite have the nerve. Instead, I ran. But the more I thought about it, the more the thought, and I was right. I should have fought back. So I came here to tell him he would never hit me again, and I found you. Take her hands in yours, rubbing gently to bring warmth to them. He may never lay a hand on you again. Never. So, what's the first thing you would do, now that you're free of him? I have always thought about getting away to the last place I remember being happy. The last place I went with my mother. It sounds like the perfect thing to do. Suddenly he rises to Sabina's cheeks, and she glances at you from beneath lowered lashes. Would you go with me? I would love to show you what I was writing, and it was nothing I could ever put to words before meeting you. It was Sabina's favorite spot, an exclusive scene to share your poetry and improve your relationship. Quite beautiful. Go back to the chalet. I really need to find out what happened to Lena and the others. Do you want to come with me? Where you can stay with the koala, and where he won't find you? Sabina thinks for a moment, then you both speak at the same time. Cassius. Cassius. He's a kinsman, and I believe he'd let me stay with him if I'm not safe here. You pull her into a hug, and she responds with a tight squeeze. I'm sure Cassius will welcome you. Stay safe. From now on, always. You walk with her until she's in the sight of Cassius's villa, before heading back to the chalet to piece together the wreckage of your home. You're surprised Cassius is there. He turns, startled as you enter. His face lights with relief. Aaron, oh, thank God, you're safe. Behind him, a room looks like the aftermath of a battle. Everywhere, the beautiful tile work is cracked, broken crockery, torn fabric litters the floor, and bloody smears of fingerprints tell a story on the walls. What are you doing here? When I heard about Aquala, the arrest, I went to help, but you weren't with the other girls. I didn't know where he'd taken you. Cassius. Were you able to free the others? I'm glad to see you. Aquala wanted me for himself. The old lecher has been after me since Volcanalia. The thought of him touching you makes me wish I wore a sword. Touches your face gently. Did he hurt you? I was able to distract him. Cassius' lip curls at the thought. You step further in the chalet's front door, carefully moving debris out of the way with your foot. You check down the hall, making sure no one is hiding. Courtesans or soldiers. Cassius follows. You took all my influence just to get Lena released. I couldn't get them to budge on anyone else. Where is Lena? Still down at the cells, trying to get everyone out. I came back to look for you. Here I am. I even made an appeal to Anthony to see if he would overturn Aquala's arrests. Anthony, but he hates you. Cassius gives you a wry smile. I thought he might do it for you. But he refused to intervene. Oh. How does that benefit Anthony? I just don't see what he gains from Aquala shutting down the chalet. Perhaps you helpless. He must have assumed you would come straight to him. He played me and Aquala against each other before. You cross to the baths on the other side of the atrium. Ah, we actually get to see this. Your eyes well with tears as you see the chalet's baths now befouled with human waste. What kind of animals are Aquala's soldiers? Why do this? Because that's who's running Rome now. That's what Anthony is enabling. It makes me wonder if it's too late to leave and join Pompey's army. Perhaps the time has come for me to fight. You need it here more than ever. Without you, Anthony's corruption would reign unchecked. Even Caesar can't control him from overseas. Perhaps you're right, though most of the time it feels like I'm screaming into a void with no effect. I know that feeling. Feeling yourself, you open the door to your own room, and your heart sinks as you see the destruction continues here. Your bed is overturned, your linens and cosmetics scattered, the floor is littered with your beautiful dresses, half of them visibly torn or filled with footprints where soldiers stomped on them. Cassius puts an arm around your shoulders. I'm sure some of it can be salvaged. Suddenly you spot a glint of bronze from beneath the overturned table and grab for it. You hold your knife tightly in a clenched fist. I'm never putting you down again. Suddenly you hear a scrambling noise from behind your bed. You hold the knife out, shifting into a fighting stance. It's probably a boo. Ow! A boo. Barely manage to sheath your knife before a boo takes a flying leap into your arms. I'm so glad you're alright. Something jingles, and you look down to see a boo's offering you the ring of bronze keys with his foot. What's this? Did you take these from one of the soldiers? That merchant did tell us he was a little thief. You're the best little thief, aren't you, Abu? I'm so sorry for what Aquala did here. You deserve to have one place in Rome that feels like truly safe in yours. I never feel safe here again. Cassius leans over, lifting a sky blue dress now defaced with a muddy footprint right across the skirt. Maybe we can fix it together. Make this place back into what it should be. I wouldn't ask you to do that, Cassius. It's going to be hours of cleaning. But that would be hours we can spend together. And perhaps we can make some good memories here to replace the bad. Restore your room with Cassius, spend time alone, and improve your relationship. I don't even know where to begin right now. I think I just want to go through it slowly. Abu will help me. Oh, well, if that's what you want, Aaron, I won't get in your way. As he heads towards the front door, there's a sudden, insistent knocking on the chalet door. You follow him out. A young messenger boy is at the door holding a letter that looks to have come a long way. It is creased and stained with dirt and rain. A letter for Senator Cassius Longius. I was told I could find you here. Yes, it's me. He takes the letter and gives the messenger a coin. He starts to read. It's from Brutus. Suddenly Cassius goes pale and his legs nearly give out from underneath him. What is it? You get an arm under his shoulder, helping him back to your room. Cassius sits heavily, his face white as milk. Pompeius defeated. Caesar has won. Next time on Courtesan of Rome, Pompey's defeat makes Caesar and Anthony the undisputed rulers of Rome. What will that mean when you and your father finally plot your vengeance against Legate Aquala? So, I'm not a huge history buff, but was that true? I thought that I pulled it up on a stream where Anthony actually ended up being kind of like a co-ruler of Rome for quite some time. And I didn't know if Caesar officially defeated Pompey or not. I know eventually, I think it was, maybe it's Caesar on his way back. I don't know, I'm trying to think. I know Caesar shortly after was defeated, I know that. But I don't know the circumstances around it. I'll look it up, but something tells me it's right after this. I think. I could be wrong, but anyway, without further ado, I thank you all for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description below, links to social media, Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. Speaking of content, I find it interesting how a person on Facebook that I post in one of the choices groups says I talk a lot. And says that I react, and that it's these things are a downside of me, and that basically I talk a lot. Yeah, that's what happens when you read stories out loud. It's called talking. It's when your vocal cords vibrate and they release sound waves, which at a certain decibel, and it's also called voicing. Um, it's you're just what the I just anyway. Um, the dude apparently didn't know it was me. He was replying to because I was sharing the AME for today. So that was his first comment, was a little coffee cup emoji, and he talks a lot, and then it just went downward spiral of ignorance is bliss from there. Which, hey, if this isn't your cup of tea, and you don't like people reading stories out loud, which I've heard from a lot of people that they do, they listen to these things while driving in the car, so they don't have to read, things like that. If this isn't your cup of tea, there's about, 60 other choice channels where nobody reads out loud and everybody taps, and they expect you to read. Which then about the only benefit is they do choices, diamonds. Um, though I'm not going to go on their methods of how they get them, but that's probably the reason why those people tune in those channels, is to get the exclusive scenes that I unfortunately am not moneybags. I take care of two special needs brothers. I've done so for 15 years, and pretty much, I'm not Mr. Moneybags, and I guarantee you none of those choices are either. None of those choices players are either. Let them show your bank accounts. So with that being said, I will gladly show my pay history for choices. Um, I ain't gonna get into it. I just there's plenty of ways people do things, and I am one of the few that actually reads out loud. There was a few other people who used to, and they just kind of gave up. It was very sad, but they just kind of gave up because people would give them hate, because they would they would put themselves out there besides complete silence and tapping. And a lot of those people, wasn't just me, that has gotten hate from individuals, from groups of individuals, and it really sucks because you start putting yourself out there. I'm gonna put myself out there because haters gonna hate, and I'm gonna dab on the haters. I'll actually dab on a webcam for y'all if I want, because f the haters. You know what I'm saying? Little keyboard warriors who hate on people for whatever goddamn reason because their lives are insignificant and they need to get lives. Why don't you go out there and do better, okay, than me, if you think I am such shit. And then why don't you actually go out there and do better than PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Boogie2988, Co Carnage, Dan's Gaming, Bunty, King, etc. Why don't you do better? Because you won't put your money where your mouth is. But, hey, I'll keep talking and you keep being a little rabid keyboard warrior on the fucking internet. I don't know what else to say. Thank you all for humoring me, for watching my content. I try and do the best I possibly can, and I'm looking to do even better. That's why we're changing my setup and everything, and I'm improving. Other people are stuck in being ignorant piles of crap. Let's just go with crap. I could say a lot of other words. Speaking of which, I actually meant to say this, if you're still here, thank you. So there is actually a woman who actually went through this incident very recently. It wasn't, though Aquala did not go, and, I mean, he was threatening to, but there is an individual that I know, long story short, she works at J.C. Penney. She is an employee there. She works in corporate relations, which is probably one of the highest call center jobs that you can have in any place, that pretty much deals with, VIPs and really important people, and even people who have had a lot of issues with JCPenney. A week ago, she complained to a manager that she was being sexually harassed. An individual at her workplace took a banana, two oranges, said hey, and he started basically being very rude, very uncouth, I'd like to cut the man's balls off and shove it in his mouth, but I won't get into that. Basically being very belligerent. There's a lot of other things I could say. Basically saying, hey, I bet you never had this. I bet you, when's the last time you got laid, etc., etc., etc. I want to do a video about this. I really do. And put my face out there with it and just tell the story from her. She's afraid of retaliation. I had motivated her enough to go to one of the managers. One of the managers said, oh, I'll talk to him. She had also dropped a few other bombshells on the manager about other things, and the guy just kind of blew it off. Again, it was a guy, so you've got a female complaining to a guy. I motivated her enough to write a email to one of the female managers at the place, and she said that it would be dealt with. Well, today she goes into work after being worked up and being off on the weekend. She goes back into work after being a little sick on Monday and Tuesday. She had called off off because all this had made her sick. She was afraid of retaliation. She's afraid because the guy is walking distance from work, that she's afraid that he's going to go slash her tires, go and possibly even rape her, things like that, because of the very grotesque statements that he's made, not just very presently, but over the months before now, before coming to me and saying these things. She goes in today, apparently the J.C. Penney, again, corporate relationships, Columbus, Ohio. If you guys want to rip them new one, please, by all means. She goes in today, and they have moved the gentleman, which, being very nice, I want to say piece of crap, right next to her. She has let me know all day she's been extremely uncomfortable. That basically they've been very snide, grinned at her, etc., and they have treated her like complete and utter garbage all day. I don't know what to do besides go and beat the shit out of the guy. I'm trying to motivate her. I again, you follow the chain of command typically to work. You kind of are forced to, especially in places like this. She can't record any of the insults or anything that's being said to her because they have a, if you have a phone at your desk, it's a terminationable offense. She's not able to record what's being said to her, what's being done to her. So basically, she's trying to go and be very afraid because she has a family to provide for her. She has to work, etc., while also simultaneously, I've at least told her to start looking for a new job. But here she's currently going and going through all this right now, and no one's willing to stand up for it at all, and I am willing to. So if people want to go and retweet JCPenney and say what the is going on, maybe get some news outlets, maybe get some people on the ball on this, or something, anything, even advice, because I'm a guy and I'm trying really hard to think from a very neutral perspective while trying not to go. And I could literally go visit this guy. I know what time he gets off work. I know he walks to and from his work. I also know he doesn't have a vehicle. I know a lot about this guy. I've made it kind of like a personal little thing of mine to actually start looking into the guy. I know a lot about the guy. Long story short, I'm trying not to go that avenue. I'm trying to remain very socially graceful, and right now, because of this comment, the comments the guy has made to her, etc., this guy deserves to be held accountable, not just by again, it's a non-tolerable offense. It's a boom, or instant termination at this job. Well, he's been there now a week, since this was officially reported. And then all these other things that were long before now. Yes, unfortunately, she had let it go. She was afraid of retaliation and whatnot. Again, I can't say this enough. Again, I'm sorry I have to drop this bombshell at the end of here, but I felt like it was very relevant to the story, and I don't know what to do besides call out the people at JCPenney myself right now on Twitter and Facebook and everything. And then you're talking about long amounts of tweets because you can only write a certain amount, and the whole 9 yards, and you gotta hope that some way, somehow, that it doesn't cause retaliation against her in the midst of actually people looking into this. I know the VP of JCPenney is coming Friday to their Columbus office and everything, and so I'm kind of really heated to the point where I mean, I don't know what to say. Maybe someone can alleviate, someone can express some shit. I don't know what to say, but I'm kind of really frustrated right now about all this, and I just had to get it off my chest. It's just a really it's a bad cut, regardless, no matter what you do. So yeah. I mean, there's a lot I've left out because I don't want to rant to you guys, but I digress. It's just you don't treat people. I don't care if you're a man or a woman like this. You don't sexually harass people. You don't talk about that shit, especially to try and get laughter from your coworkers, all while embarrassing and humiliating, someone like that. I'm sorry if you're doing it to a friend and they're a friend. I'll be the first to do it to a couple of really good guy friends of mine, but I never do it to a female, and I just feel uncomfortable doing it. And this is something that you just don't do. And like I said, I'd love to do a lot of things to this guy. And that being said, maybe karma will strike this guy. Maybe while he's walking home or something, or maybe his girlfriend will leave him or whatever. I just hope karma hits this guy where it really hurts. Maybe he might lose his job. Maybe JCPenney will hear about this. Maybe something will happen. But without further ado, I hope nothing happens to her. I honestly hope she finds a better job. I think it's a crap job in the beginning. It's a nice pay and everything. It's a nice job, but I just think the company is shit. Let's be honest. JCPenney is shit. They're trying to make a comeback and everything, and they've tried to avoid all these bankruptcies and everything while closing and costing people their jobs. And I just think JCPenney needs to die in and of itself at this point, especially after hearing this. I'm all for an underdog redemption story, but at this point, you're not taking a female worker seriously, and I think you're a piece of shit. And I think your management team is a piece of shit. I think your company is a piece of shit at this rate. And I just think, oh my god, I'm trying really not to get mad and keep ranting. Anyway. Without further ado, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.